I think I was always interested in art from the time I was in, not necessarily grade school, but probably by the time I was in junior high. And I went to art classes after school when I was in high school, before I ever went to college. I didn't take very many classes in high school because my family felt that I needed to be very well prepared to go on to a college. My family wasn't enthusiastic about my being an art major, and I never got to really declare that I was an art major until my first semester of my junior year. And finally I said, look, I'm going to be an art major. And I don't think that was met with great joy, but they allowed me to do that. I think that's one of the places that I probably took a risk. I'm not unhappy that I did that, and I think people make those choices, and sometimes you have to take some risks in your life. And it worked out for me because I went on to graduate school. I went to two schools actually for graduate work, and then I was offered a job here at Marshall, and that is what seems like 1,000 years ago. I got into weaving and textiles primarily because when I came here many years ago, there were looms in the department and nobody knew how to use them. And my wife was a textile designer at Carnegie Mellon University, and I watched her use the equipment, and I thought it was very logical. And though I'd never done any weaving, I figured I could teach it. And the chairman at that time said, would you like to try? Would you like to use the equipment? And I said, sure. And that's how I got into it. And after working and teaching just a few people on 2 or 3 looms for a year, I got a loom of my own and I started working on it. And I thought it was really very, very exciting, very interesting.
He's been an exceptionally devoted member of the faculty. In order to help a rather small department, I know he went beyond the call of duty in terms of teaching more than the 4-hour load that many of us complain about as being onerous. It was not unusual for Michael to have in the schedule listed 4, 5, 6, or even more classes, because he had some drawing students, he had some weaving students, he had other students who needed classes. And the only way that they could have them was if he would do them as an unpaid overload.
Mike would do everything. He had energy to spare. He was enthusiastic, and everybody was just sort of trying to keep up with all of the different things that he was involved in.
Because that fundamental desire to see student success permeates everything he does. And the students across the college have really come to appreciate him for his ability to monitor what they're doing, to expect them to perform at their highest levels, and see them all the way through graduation.
Drawing tends to be these lines. Find some places where you might have smooth areas without any lines.
I heard a lot of things about him before I had him. Like maybe he would rip up your drawing or something. That never happened to me. But I think maybe when in the earlier years, I hear that he was a little more than straightforward. You know, if I bring a piece of art in there, I'm like, I'm working on this. What do you think? He will tell me exactly what he thinks. If it's great, he'll say, I think it's great, and these are why I think it's great. If it's not so great, he'll say, you know, I don't know what you're doing with this, but these are some ways you could take it. So I've always appreciated his honesty.
Michael is very witty, is known for his rather wicked sense of humor. Perhaps some people find it sarcasm. For example, and this is not a real specific case, but sort of based on one. If a student, for example, were to say, but Professor Cornfeld, I tried 9 times, Michael might turn around and say, well, maybe you need to try a 10th time.
It's too bad you didn't draw like this the whole semester.
He was a very intimidating drawing teacher because he expected so much from the students, and they knew it. And so when they took a course from Mike, they were on their very, very best behavior, and I'm sure that those of them that made it through the course deserve to make it through the course.
What that demonstrates about Michael is that he had high standards and he wanted people to push and try harder.
I think students would say he's always been considered to be a very tough and demanding teacher, but he's also very, very fair. And I think what underpins all of his interactions with students is his desire to see them realize their full potential.
I had been working on a piece one night, and I wasn't sure if I was happy with the way it was going. And the next day when I came in, he had left a note on the loom saying, "This looks very good," or something simple as that. But that gave me that extra boost and confidence to finish that piece. And he always knew when you needed a little bit of encouragement.
I like to think it has a lot to do with the attitude of the teacher. If you can be sort of enthusiastic about it, you can foster that kind of thing. If you can make the problems interesting enough and exciting enough, you can foster their involvement. You don't get to everybody, but you make the effort, really, and stuff. And I like that. I'm going to miss that. Well, how many weavers did you turn out? Well, not a whole lot of weavers. I mean, there's not a lot of people making their living weaving. As a matter of fact, I don't know if there's anybody who graduated from Marshall from my weaving program and made a living weaving. But I think there are a lot of people out there who are in the arts, and I like to think that I didn't necessarily focus them in one area, but I think generally I taught people to get involved in art and get involved in what they were doing, and they went from there. And so I like to feel that many of my students are, say, graphic designers, and some might be painters, and some might be printmakers, and some might have gone on to be administrators in different ways in the arts, and a number of them have done that, and that I'm a little bit responsible for that. And even if I don't have this whole fantastic school of weavers behind me. I don't know how you're going to use any of this stuff.